It's a very gentle story, really, in many ways. It's about gentleness and it's about warmth and showing humanity. So that's what inspired me to start with, but I didn't expect the journey that we've been on.
So it has been tricky, but I think that because of that, we've come out with something really special.
This was a fascinating man and a fascinating subject that we could do more about within the same kind of basic framework of the Change Minds structure. And so we talked to Upshoot Theatre Company and it just developed from there.
The culmination of this experience is very different to anything else I've ever done before. But this whole journey has been a mixture of sharing space with people in person and then sharing space with people in a digital way. Started sort of technically in April 2020. Research participants started to join the project in May, and the Zoom thing took some getting used to, but very quickly, the group sort of found its sort of shared togetherness.
To be honest, it's been brilliant because normally as a scriptwriter I'd sit alone, and of course I spent quite a lot of time doing that, sitting alone, reading, but I also had this whole team of researchers, so the other participants and Richard, this absolute font of knowledge and experience, and that was really important, and I had access to all of this. So at the same time that could also be daunting, but I knew that if I got anything wrong I would be picked up.
What inspired me to research into Dr. Hills was I participated in Change Minds, which is another project by the Restoration Trust, which involves looking into the records of the county asylum. I started looking at Dr. Hill's journals, and almost immediately the warmth, the genuine humanity of the man came across in his writing. So I've transcribed his entire journal, and of course now at the moment trying to transcribe all the case histories of the patients, which are in the case books, which again are held at the Norfolk Record Office.
Looking at the patient case studies have been both touching and interesting. It also rekindled my interest in history and psychology as well as creative writing.
So we were being given people to research by Richard Johnson. What emerged for me was that it was basically, this was a supportive community. Even though most of it was online by that point, in fact it was entirely online by the time I joined. The whole makeup of the group, the personalities involved, I realised was, kind of almost like undergoing therapy in itself, because it's a safe space, and as the time went on it emerged we had common interests and so forth. The process of seeing it being built from the ground up, if you like.
It's given us the opportunity to study that, look into the background, and really see the difference in how mental health was looked at over Victorian times.
I think we've all come at it with sort of a level of empathy that's meant that the people involved have been treated with respect.
You see all these photos of Victorian asylums and it's just, it's scary. It's really not very nice at all. I wanted to find out something that was good. Dr. Hills seemed to have been like a proper pioneer. It's nice to know that there's the hope. There was hope there.
I always say I never actually see a show until we get to the first preview, because of course one's got a notebook in one's hands and one sort of, oh my God, that's upside down, that's inside out, that's whatever it is. And in this strange hybrid world of this particular show, as we have discussed, We've got the film element and we've got the stage element, and somehow or other, I think, I mean, you're the man who knows because you've seen it, I think we've probably covered all the bases. But it's not like making a piece of theatre, it's not like making a film, because the two, but I think the two have melded quite well. This is almost like a new medium, if you like, I think.
It's been difficult because of the times, you know, the pandemic and how we've stopped and started, which has given some form of inconsistency to the process, which normally wouldn't happen. This is a medium that isn't done. You know, it has happened a bit over the last sort of 14 months because of what's been going on in the world, but before this, you know, our society did, or our industry did, plays that were filmed, but they were always filmed in front of an audience, so you were never performing to a camera, you're always performing to an audience, and then they just happen to be filming it. So this is completely different, and this is completely new to me, and quite frankly, it's thrown me. Like, I was very confident with my journey and knowing what I needed to do to tell this story, which is essentially, obviously my character's point is to tell that story, and then to all of a sudden be thrown in front of cameras and then trying at the same time not to look at the cameras, because we're obviously trying not to do direct address to a screen, was probably the hardest part about this week for me.
And we have a community here that judges not. He told me of Dr. John Connolly, one of the founders of this new age of the asylum, who said that we must regard our patients as children. Their cares and joys will become ours, and our whole heart will be given to them.
It's hard to know like what moments are landing. So obviously, you know, usually you know if you're doing something well because you can hear an audience laugh, or when an audience is silent, usually you're doing something right because, you know, there's a lot of focus in the room. You know, sometimes you can hear people crying. So yeah, it is really hard to kind of get that energy and that momentum, because especially when you're, you know, stop-starting, the adrenaline sort of fades in and out, and yeah, it's been quite hard to strike that balance actually, but I hope we've done a good job.
As a director or an actor, not having an audience for a piece like this is hard. It has been hard, and I can't wait for the possibility of putting it out there on stage and getting that live feedback in the room.